Oh my gosh, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take one day off and things literally went off the rails. So much to talk about. I spent the majority of the weekend screening the Batman Dark Knight trilogy, and you're not going to believe what I found. That will be tomorrow's show. So I want you guys all to tune into tomorrow's show. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. I'm like literally speechless. From Trump's mother's mugging to the stock market sabotage to things are going to get worse before they get better. Like his entire life literally is played out in the Batman Dark Knight trilogy. Both films, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, both filmed in Trump buildings, one in Trump Tower, Chicago, one in Trump Tower, Manhattan. There was even his 40 Wall Street building appeared in the film. It was CGI'd into the sky. I could not believe it. Everything that I found. 88s everywhere, 66s. Of course, Trump was 66 years old when Dark Knight Rises released. That was the last one in the trilogy. We're going to break all that down tomorrow. But today, while I was researching all that, this bizarre epiphany was revealed. The reason why the witch's calendar considers opposite festivals on the calendar is because they actually happen in opposite parts of the calendar depending on what hemisphere you are in. I didn't understand that until this epiphany hit me. I didn't get that until now. So literally, Trump's mother was born very close to the Beltaine festival, which is Walpurgis Night, May 1st. And yes, May 10th, her birthday, in some communities, is celebrated as Beltaine. Trump's mother was literally born on Beltaine, May 10th. It's May 1st, but in some communities, it's celebrated on May 10th. It depends on where it falls on the calendar. Now, this is crazy because, like I said, in the Southern Hemisphere, the opposite festival is being observed. Samhain, spelt Sam Hain. But in the Northern Hemisphere, our hemisphere, it's Beltaine, May 1st through May 10th, Trump's mother's birthday. Now, I'm opening the show with all this today because right now is Beltaine. Today is May 4th. So we're in the middle of it. And guess what's going on the very island that Trump's mother was born right now as we speak during Beltaine. Let's go back into the chat. Good morning, everybody. What the heck is going on? You're not going to believe this. Now, one of you sent this to me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious? Yes, Casey, you need to look at what's going on in the Hebrides right now, on the Isle of Lewis specifically. Have you guys heard about what's going on? Let's see who gets the answer. Why don't I just play this for you?
It's a constant drone, and it's spreading across bits of the spectrum it shouldn't be, that it should be filtered from, and that is what's causing the annoyance in everybody, because it's constantly fluctuating, but it's persistent within the same narrow corridor.
The long-term noise exposure has a really detrimental effect on people's health and well-being, and on their quality of life as well for those who are sensitive to it. So for people who are affected, it's a real concern. When we first moved up to the island a couple of years ago, one of the brilliant advantages of this degree of isolation up here is the peace and quiet, and it's blissfully quiet up here usually, but from the last couple of weeks it's got to the point where if we can't find what is causing this and stop it, I'm seriously going to have to consider leaving the island.
There is some kind of bizarre frequency that has overtaken.
It's Dan here from Newsflux with the latest internet.
I'll put links to all this for you guys. Has overtaken the island on where Trump's mother was born, and it happened precisely on the Beltaine festival, as if a portal was open. Let's keep listening to what this guy has to say.
Internet stories, news, and trends. Residents of the remote Outer Hebrides off Scotland's coast have been tormented by a strange and persistent noise. Described as a low, monotonous hum, the sound is reportedly audible both day and night in the Isle of Lewis, particularly its eastern side, experiencing it most acutely. Some locals say the noise has disrupted their lives to the point of exhaustion, leaving them unable to sleep. It's impossible to ignore, like someone constantly shouting.
I'll put links to these two stories, but it makes you wonder if the sound is coming from the standing stones of Callanish. Is there a portal that is now opened? Wow. Now, let's get into some of these other stories today. Trump is back at it again with his Gemini moves. This is a real story, you guys. Trump proposed changing Veterans Day to Victory Day, winning it with May 8th, which is celebrated as Victory Day in Europe. So May 8th, that's another 58. Now, he has since backed off from this, but this was the original plan. Trump says he's renaming Veterans Day. And people are like, laugh out loud, what? Wow. Now there's all kinds of cringe factor going on. Things are changing at warp speed. Trump dressing up as the Pope. We're going to cover that today and many other things. But I wanted to show you how they wanted to rename Veterans Day. And they said because, hey, we won World War I and World War II with great victory. And so this is why he wants to name it that, to kind of upstage Europe's Victory Day on May 8th. Wow. Now, I want to do a quick follow-up on yesterday or Friday show, maybe it was Saturday or Friday show, I think it was. I confirmed, this is whitehouse.gov. Remember the executive order that Trump passed about police powers? Well, remember we weren't sure if it included surplus military assets? Well, it absolutely does. This is the executive order. And let's take a look and search this page for military assets. And here it is. Increase the provision of surplus military assets to support local law enforcement and evaluate their use in crime prevention. There you go. This is the beginning of the end. Because soon, these powers will be wielded on any citizen who opposes Israel, for instance. Yes, there are executive orders saying against what they call anti-Semitism. So anyone who opposes Israel will become a target by our federal government, because they'll get to define what that means, right? Now, what else is going on? Well, it's interesting. You know, the right-left paradigm is a thing. This is way back from, let's see what year this article was, May 18th, 2015. Obama limits military-style equipment for local police. And Trump just undid that. I'm not a Barack Obama supporter by any stretch of the imagination, but this just goes to show you what is going on here. Here's the how Trump rescinded. Trump rescinds Obama's limits on transfer of military gear to police. This was back during Trump's first presidency. It was the first thing he did because he knew that he was going to pass this second executive order to even further militarize our police. Here's an article, how police departments got billions of dollars of tactical military equipment. This was dated 2020 at the end of Trump's presidency, the programs that sends surplus weapons to local law enforcement has drawn criticism in the wake of nationwide protests against police brutality. Now, this is insane. $7 billion. You guys, we have spent less money on foreign aid to some countries in terms of militarization than this. We are literally militarizing our own police departments as if they are fighting a war against the people. Wow. Now, other things are moving at warp speed as well. mRNA technology for vaccines. And not just any vaccines, these are self-replicating vaccines. We've already covered a little bit of this. RFK Jr. is behind this. And they're saying, oh, we're no longer going to test this on animals. We're going to use artificial intelligence. Self-amplifying mRNA vaccines. They're going to use artificial intelligence to develop these. Unbelievable. Now, just last week, we covered this story about Palantir. And they're finally in the mainstream news. Back a couple weeks ago, we covered this. It wasn't really mainstream news. It was just a mention. But Palantir has now announced a privacy-destroying AI that they're going to use at the border. Big tech takes on immigration with new migrant tracking software for ICE. So since we already covered this story, we're not going to read it again, but people are concerned because this invades people's privacy. And people are starting to kind of wake up, but I think it's already too late. Everything's already been put in place. And another round of auto tariffs just went into effect. And Trump keeps promising, oh, no big deal. This isn't going to affect, domestic car buying, but it absolutely is, because car parts are all from other countries, or most of them are from other countries. Those car parts going up in price is going to increase the price of cars. So I don't understand how Trump is saying that this is not going to happen. It absolutely is going to happen. So here's the update on the car purchases and tariffs. Wow. Now, get into this next story. Landlords are now charging hidden fees to renters. I want to do a poll and see if you guys have experienced this. Have you ever, let's say this. Okay. Have you ever been charged a fee by your landlord in the past year that used to be included in rent? Let's do a poll. So I'm curious. Have you been charged a fee by your landlord in the past year that used to be included in rent? Okay, let's start this poll. I'm curious because this is how they nickel and dime people. This is how they make you go broke, even if you're in a low rent area. Some of these reports in the story that I read about this amounted to hundreds of dollars a month in extra fees. They're literally going after the middle class people of America. There should be laws against this. There should be an executive order against this. People are barely hanging on as it is. With the economy doing what it's doing, this should not be allowed. Well, people will make the argument, oh, well, Casey, the costs for landlords are going up too, so we have to pass on those costs. Well, Trump needs to make an executive order against that. If costs are going up for landlords, those costs need to be controlled, don't they? Do you see how everything rolls downhill? Do you see why a landlord would want to charge more fees? Well, because car parts are costing more and groceries are up in price. So, all these things that the landlord is experiencing, extra costs are going to be handed down, aren't they? Oh, this is what's going on, you guys. Looks like a little over half of you have experienced these recent fees. Wow. 60 votes so far. Thanks for doing the poll. I'll let that poll ride for a little bit. We'll do another poll a little bit later in the show on some other topics as well. Now, let's get into this Trump Pope thing. Everyone's upset. Even the MAGA crowd is pretending to be upset. They're losing it. The MAGA crowd is now splitting off from Trump, it almost appears. They're no longer making excuses for him. Well, to me, it's too little too late. You already got him elected. We tried to tell you. Look at even Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to start to turn on the Trump administration. In an extraordinary intervention, she calls it, in a rare rebuke, the Republican Congresswoman has broken ranks to suggest the administration was losing its base. She's like, I represent the base, and when I'm frustrated and upset over the direction of things, you might be clear. You better be clear. The base is not happy. Frustrated with the direction of the administration. That's because Trump's acting like a globalist, which is what we told you he was. Now she talks about the vaccine. She brings that up. We already told you guys that he was claimed to be the father of it and brags about it. But, I think people are finally waking up, but it's too little too late. The technology is already in place to control all of us. They don't really care what we think anymore. Let's get back to this Pope story. Now, of course, Trump is trolling here, isn't he? His defenders will praise the gesture just to counter any opposition, just to not let the Democrats win. But these gestures are meant to trigger you. Here it is. President Donald Trump shared an AI-generated image depicting himself as the leader of the Catholic Church. And on the heels of a funeral, this is so cringy and inappropriate, it's not even funny. Wow. Coming as the Vatican's conclave to select the new pope is set to commence this week. On Friday evening, the U.S. president posted the image on his official account on Truth social media platform. Trump had previously joked he would like to be the next pope following the death of Pope Francis on April 21st. I'd like to be pope. That would be my number one choice. Oh, wow. Like, this isn't even funny. This is like a bad joke. Here's what's going on, you guys. Now, what else is going on? Well, these people keep wanting to inject us with snake venom. Science is working on a snake vaccine. Now, we had covered Ozempic, how it's derived from the Gila monster, or the Gila monster, I guess is the way it's pronounced. And which is a reptile, or maybe it's an amphibian. I don't know. To me, it's all the same. But basically, here's a guy, scientist injected himself with snake venom hundreds of times. And they're now saying that they're trying to come up with a snake bite vaccine. Basically, what would happen, if you get bit by a snake, it wouldn't hurt you. That's normal, right? Why do they want to inject us with reptilian venom so badly? Well, could it have something to do with the serpent in the Bible? Wow. Put links to all these stories for you guys. Now, remember we had discussions about factory jobs. Remember this? Probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was telling you guys, our entire factory system needs to be redesigned. We need to create better jobs, better paying jobs, even for low-level workers, because it is dangerous and you are, giving a substantial part of your life to these factory jobs. There should not be layoffs. Remember all of these discussions that we've had? Well, guess what? All of a sudden, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce is wanting to adopt some of our ideas. Now, of course, this will never happen. I believe this is just a carrot. I think what will really happen is The economy is going to be so messed up. People have no other choice to work in these sweat factories. It will be nothing. It'll actually be worse than before, is my guess. But here it is, you guys. U.S. Secretary of Commerce says the new model is factory jobs for life, for you, your kids, and your grandkids. Wow. Great jobs of the future that Gen Z could work in for the rest of their life. And so could their grandkids. But the workforce youngest cohort probably won't be running to fill the roles. Some white collar workers may be on the brink of layoffs thanks to AI. Something else we warned about. The Secretary of Commerce says they will always have a place in America's factories as the U.S. puts up high tariffs and curbs immigration. The administration hopes to fuel an intergenerational manufacturing boom. Well, the manufacturing boom should have come first. We should have gradually weaned ourselves off of trade. You can't just do this all in one go. This is the new model where you work in these plants for the rest of your life, and your kids work here, and your grandkids work here. Wow. While Lutnick said this is all part of President Trump's larger plan to make America more independent from foreign imports and services, the administration targeted deportation of immigrants have left many domestic manufacturers scrambling for labor. To keep up with supply, people have to fill the plant jobs. Lutnick thinks technicians tending to factory robots are the next hot gig. Well, there you go. Wow. There's the catch. You'll be a robot technician. That's insane. You got to remember these plants, all these automated arms and stuff, they need to be fixed. They all need a technician to fix them, he said. This is tradecraft. This is high school educated, great jobs. Robot technicians earn $90K with just a high school diploma. Robots are already starting to work side by side with humans on factory floors. You guys, this is right out of that movie Elysium, where he works in a robot plant. And then he's crushed by some machinery. And then he ends up going up to the ring up in orbit to get a med bed to save his life, I think is the way that went down. We decoded that movie a couple times, I think. This is our future, you guys. iRobot, Elysium, what was the other one? District 13, I think it was called. This is our future. Can you believe how fast this happened? I can't even believe it. Now, tomorrow, we will decode Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight is a trilogy. So 3 Batman films. We're going to cover that tomorrow. Full deep dive decode. And again, as I open the show, it was all about Trump's life and his dual personality. Trump is a combination of Batman and the Joker, all in one. We'll break that down tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. Kind of a short show today, but I wanted to get into some of these headlines that we missed. And let's go ahead and end this poll. I can hang out in the chat for a little bit today. Good morning. And Pavo says, I refuse to see that stupid movie. Yeah, I watch the movies to see what the programming is to the rest of the people. And that's why we do these decodes, because it is programming. Make no mistake. When you show people the programming, hopefully they'll wake up to it. You're not even going to believe what I found, you guys. You're not going to believe it. All 3 movies. All 3 of them. All right. Yeah, please thumbs up the video if you haven't already. Thanks for the thumbs up, you guys. Good morning. Thanks, Devon. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about today before we pop off of here? The last 12 years of my career, we automated food, logistics, and warehousing facilities. It's been happening for years. Yes, Tim. Now they have the technology. The AI now has advanced leaps and bounds. Trump's Stargate AI will probably be part of this as well. Run all these things. Before, they didn't have the computing power or the artificial intelligence necessary. But with the rise of all these chat GPTs and all this stuff, it's learning from us how to be human. So it advanced leaps and bounds. Basically, the intelligence has caught up with the hardware. They've always had robots. They've had robots for years, but they weren't very intelligent. Now they're intelligent. Yes, they've been doing the Army surplus and police departments for years, but as I just showed you, during the Obama years, they put a stop to that. Now, what was the thing behind that? Well, probably to allow for the Democrats to, do all their protests and all those things. Remember that? So, guess what? Nobody standed up against Obama then for demilitarizing the police. So that was actually a good thing. We don't want our police officers looking like army, do we? That breaks so many laws, it's not even funny. So it's kind of started, the militarization picked up with Trump, went through the Biden presidency, and now Trump again. That's 3 administrations. That's 12 years. Remember when we started this channel and we would be like shocked if we saw a story on any kind of military equipment inside of a police department. That was like a thing. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then we were like, channels like ours were like trying to raise the alarm bells. We're like, this is not good, you guys. Because there's supposed to be a distinction between police and military. Well, now it's commonplace. It's literally everywhere now. It's everywhere. It's like normal. It's the new normal. It's crazy how things change and perceptions change, isn't it? All right. So the police state is official with a presidential executive order protecting police, executive order to increase militarization of police, and increased protections for police as well, and powers. Not good, you guys. All right. Well, I think that's about it. I'm going to prepare a little bit more for tomorrow's show. I'll put links to everything in the pinned comment for you guys, as I always do. Christy says, did you hear Paula White said she just celebrated Ishtar and Easter? Wow. Unbelievable. Well, it's pretty believable, actually. You guys were so far down the right-left paradigm hole, people will just keep making excuses. They don't care. They'll say, big deal. For me and you, it's shocking. But people are completely invested in Trump now, or they're not. Those are the two sides people are falling on, and they'll viciously defend their side till the end. Yes, the cops are very emboldened right now. Trump has also kind of stripped away, the civil rights aspect to policing as well. Okay. Now, what the police will do with that, who knows? But you got to remember, they have all this pent up rage. The police have all this pent up rage because they've been disrespected by people, haven't they? Do you see now why I didn't jump on the whole cop watch thing and all that stuff? To go around and intentionally anger cops, I'm not going to do that. Okay? That's why I continue to be respectful with cops when I'm pulled over. And what happens after that, that's on them. I've done my part to be respectful. I'm not going to give up my rights, but I'm also not going to intentionally go and aggravate police officers. Because all that pent up rage, it's just waiting to be unleashed. As soon as the pendulum swings back the other way, And we already know with politics that this is the way it goes. This is why the left got away with what they did and did what they did for so long, because they already knew they were setting it up for the pendulum to swing back the other way. So unfortunately, Trump's starting to pull back on a lot of these civil rights aspects. And he's saying things like, he's not making any excuses for black people anymore. That's one thing he said. And on certain levels, I agree with that, but not given the agenda that's behind it. Okay. The agenda behind it now is going to open up the floodgates for cops to do even more and violate more people's civil rights. Profiling is coming back. They will start profiling people again. And no one's going to come to their rescue now because Trump has the cops protected. Even hiring lawyers for them to defend them in court for wrongful killings. Is this the America we want? The truth of the matter is it's supposed to be somewhere in the middle. Okay? And notice how neither side came to the middle with policing. Obama didn't, Trump didn't, Biden didn't. They always did the extremes. So here we go. This is unbelievable. I'm thinking the summer is going to be pretty wild. Let's just put it that way. Get ready for the summer 2025. Now, much of the left is in utter fear right now. They are freaked out. But understand, if you're on the left, understand you were set up. This was a setup. They always knew Trump was going to become president, so they let you get away with murder so that you can now get your hand slapped, thrown in jail, have your property taken, disrespected, and maybe even killed. So that's what the setup was. Now, what's the answer? Well, again, come out of the right-left paradigm. Stop being emboldened by things you know are wrong just because someone at the top says it's right. I was thinking about this whole, did you guys hear about Michelle Obama came out and said, it was kind of taken out of context, but essentially she was on an interview and she said men like us or something like this. But I think it was taken out of context because she was really referring to the interviewer. But anyway, a lot of people are running with it and they're saying, oh, she finally admitted it. Guys, why do you think that they're allowing this to happen? They're laughing at us. They are literally laughing at us. What do you mean, Casey? Look, people talk about 5D chess, but what does that really mean? The reason why the president chose Michelle Obama, President Obama chose Michelle Obama as a wife, was to do exactly that. To basically put that on the world stage, to embolden people to be like that, right? I'm speaking pretty carefully here. So that then Trump could come in and defeat the whole thing and go rogue, like go crazy, just gloves off. Right? So that's what this is about. It's 5D chess on all of us. Both sides working together. That's why he chose her. That's why he allows all of the hazing. He never says anything about it. That's why Michelle Obama never says anything. They're laughing at us. They're like, haha, look at them. They're going crazy. They're going crazy. They're eating it up. Look at this. This is why they, put it in our schools to enrage us even further so that we would accept Trump and everything that comes with him. And Trump finally got it done. He finally got the police state done, didn't he? He finally got it done. No one else could have gotten it done. He got it done, though. This is why I didn't go so crazy on the whole transvestigation thing. It's feeding right into what they want, you guys. It's feeding right into it. Yes, I understand, but it's all gaslighting. They're literally gaslighting us. They're putting these. I wouldn't be shocked if, even if Michelle wasn't a man, if they weren't putting things in their pants to make it look like that, just to gaslight us even more. You know, some of the most popular videos on YouTube are people just going in public and trolling people. They call it IRL, in real life. And they'll just go live stream and literally just say, this one guy that I follow sometimes or I watch sometimes, it's a little bit crude, but he'll go up to just women in public and say, we're interviewing dumb blondes. He'll just say that. And it's like he's completely trolling and it's just a joke to get a reaction. But this is the same thing is happening in our politics. Half of what they do is simply trolling the American public to keep the divide going, to keep each side hating each other. Imagine if you're on the left and you click on a right-wing music or a right-wing video and they're doing a transvestigation. How much more are you going to hate the right if you see that? See, it's all trolling. That's exactly what it is. They're literally trolling both sides. So do you feed into that? Do you become part of the trolling? No, you expose the trolling for what it is. You expose the gaslighting for what it is. This is why I don't get so upset about certain things. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Are they trolling us? All right. Yes, there's a place in Kenya named Hawaii. We did a whole video on that. Thanks, guys over Spokane. Yes, you can't believe anything you see anymore because it's all AI, Lisa says. You're absolutely 100% correct. Gosh, I can't even go through my Facebook feed anymore because literally you don't know what's real or not. They literally have AI video now where you'll see a gorilla playing with a kitten and it's not real, but it looks real until you actually stop and look at it for a minute. But by then you've already clicked on it. So they're getting their clicks and views, right? And you're like, oh, that can't be real. But it's insane. What things are happening at warp speed, you guys. We literally are living in a reality that we don't even know if it's real anymore. The news, video, social media, robotics, workers. I mean, heck, what if we're the dummies? What if literally no one has jobs anymore and all of the manufacturing is done by robots and we just don't know it yet? I don't know. Have any of you worked in an Amazon plant before? What's going on in there? Because I have a feeling that the economy is much different. You guys, most people I know, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer or a nurse, there's pretty much no other jobs left. And if they are, they're very temporary. They're not well paying. Like any job outside of a doctor, nor a lawyer or a nurse, you're going to be under the $50,000 mark in terms of income. I don't know anyone with high paying jobs. I don't know anyone making six figures anymore, unless you're in one of those fields. There are people that want to work who can't even find a job. Whoa. All right. Yeah, a lot of people are doing DoorDash. Remember DoorDash used to be you used to be able to make some money doing Uber and DoorDash. And then what happened? They came in and regulated it all. Basically cut people's wages in half. I have a friend, he was making six figures doing Uber when it first started. And then all these regulations came in and he had to work more and more and more hours and made half of what he used to make. That shouldn't happen in America. It should get better the longer it's going on. The people that are grandfathered in should make more money as time goes on, not the opposite. But it's almost as like our economy, as soon as it sees something that's starting to do well, where someone's making a lot of money for the least amount of effort, the economy like literally consumes it. It jumps on it, deregulates it, and takes all the profit out of it. How are small businesses supposed to grow when that happens? The only option for people is to sell their business, and then rich billionaires take all the profits. So people aren't outside anymore, says Joey. Yep. Yes, there are two societies: those that actually work and make the world go round, and then those who are secretly enriched. I agree with that, Aaron. Electrical, plumbing, painting, carpenters, all working here. Now, how are they doing financially? Skies over Spokane. I would be interested to see how that's happening. A better question is, how has their income progressed over the years? Have their incomes gone down for blue collar workers, or are they gradually going up? I can tell you this: when I had all that put in my house, they were telling me that the cost of the parts, the supplies, had gone up exponentially. They're like, we're really sorry that this costs so much, but you know, all the parts have gone up. You used to be able to buy a screw for 2 cents or a cent, and now they cost 5 to 25 cents per screw, or $1 a screw. So that's not good, because that all gets handed down to the consumer. All right, you guys. Well, great hanging out with you guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging. Have a good rest of your day. I could find the top of my page. There it is. Take care, you guys.